My name is Pierre Leeflang. I'm a team lead at Entelect. I've been here for just over 6 years. This is my second IDF talk. The first one was about Sprint book, back when I was just doing UX work. And that was in 2019. And now here I am again. It's quite exciting to be doing it. My first question to all of you is there anyone in the room who is currently in a leadership position? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Not really sure. I lead people. I mentor people.
I'm not in UX, so I'm
quite generic. Okay. Is there anyone here who's keen on moving into leadership? Not specifically UX leadership. Got 1 hand, got 2 hands, 3 hands, 4 hands.
Oh, I'm gonna.
Nice, okay. Bit of consensus. I've got to use 2 keyboards because Fig Slides hasn't realized that we present without HDMI cables. It's a bit weird, so I can't see my notes and the things, but we make it work, right? Little hacks. I've moved slides. Right, good. Before I get into that, sorry, my apologies. There's actually a question on the question. Go back. What's the best advice? So I won't take everyone's. I'm sure everyone's going to be really good advice. But if you'd like to share, what is the best advice you've ever received from a mentor or a parent or anyone in your life? Anyone can share? I'm going to go online first, then I'm going to take you. Is there anyone online who wants to share what the best advice is? You can unmute or you can put it in the chat. We'll monitor the chat. Esty, what's the best advice you've received?
Choose your battles.
Choose your battles. Good one.
It was a lot of good advice. I literally had the session today. But it's basically that building trust is extremely important in any relationship that you're working with. If you build trust with someone, then you're likely to be able to work really well with them.
Stop taking words out of my presentation, but yes. Anyone else? No one else? Come on, there must be a chat.
Perfect is the enemy of done. So rather don't procrastinate, just do it.
Good. To get it done, Steph. Nice. Getting online.
Nope, not yet.
Okay. I know you're all comfortable online. Get in the chat. Right. Best advice I've ever received was from my dad. Measure twice, cut once.
Oh, yes.
And I think you've all heard it. He's probably heard it. It was something that he did in his life. He was quite into his hobbies and he did woodworking. He taught me how to, make a table, make some things. And I always take that from him. So I take that advice into my life, into my career, to the things I do. But cool. Thanks for sharing. What I'll be getting into, what we'll be covering today is a bit of my journey to get to where I am today. I think a bit of context always helps make it a bit more relatable. The mindset shift you need from a designer to a leader. The key skills that I think that I needed as a designer moving into a leadership position, and those things that you can grow. The common challenges that you could face. Some practical strategies that you can use, and then some next steps that you could take. So I'm looking at you. You wanted to go into leadership, so if you don't want to, maybe just something will resonate with you. Right. So let me talk about my journey. Not because it's perfect in any way, but it could be familiar. There could be some parallels you could draw from that journey that you're currently facing. In your space, got people joining. We'll carry on. Right, so at some point there's a crossroads. It's like, I got leadership. Do I stay in UX? What do I do? What does it look like? 6 years ago, I joined at Entelect. It was 2019, and some of you are from Standard Bank. I joined the Standard Bank team. As a senior UX designer, we did not have a team lead there. We had a software development manager who was looking after way too many people. So it gave it an opportunity presented itself where it's like I could step up into a role here where I could help the juniors because we had grads in the space. Kind of, let's all help together. Let's see, where I can support them. And that kind of started my journey naturally into this leadership space, which was exciting. Then my brain can't do this two things. Whoa, no, we've gone too far. Right. Because of that opportunity and because of what I was doing there, Entelect saw something. They were like, okay, well, let's put Pierre onto a legitimate leadership course and let's go show him what leadership looks like from our point of view. And it really opened my eyes because it's not just about managing people, it's creating an environment for them to thrive. And that stuck with me. And I was like, oh, yeah, okay, it's not about me, it's about us and them. But then that was in 2020, February 2020. You all know what happened a month later. We went into COVID. I went into a massive slump. I think some of us all did. The world was changing, didn't know what was happening. I also lost both of my parents that year. I went through a massive depression. And I kind of just felt myself stuck. I wasn't doing anything extra. I wasn't adding any more value. I was just doing my 9-to-5 job and nothing extra. And I was just trying to keep afloat and make sure I wasn't getting fired. So that was something that happened to me, and I just felt no connection or impact that I was doing from a UX point of view on my projects. And I needed to get out of that. Lucky me, there was a spark. I moved into a new team at Standard Bank. We had a new project. I had a new team lead, someone who I could trust, and someone who could give me some more advice and kind of help me grow. And I tried to steer things within the space, and I realized, like, from a UX point of view, I'm not going to get anywhere because they think we just draw pictures and things. But I wanted to advocate for UX, why we should be doing certain things properly, follow a process, so that we could, be the advocates for users and not just business needs that were getting pushed down on us. That was my little spark. It was like, let me advocate for people. But I didn't have the seat at the table. So I was like, okay, so how do I get there? And in hindsight, it's not necessarily having that seat at the table. I now realize that it was all to do with UX maturity within that space. It doesn't matter what level you are as a designer, you can advocate for UX if the maturity is at a 6 or a 5 on that Nielsen-Norman group scale of UX maturity. I think we were at a 1 or 2 in that space that we were working in. So we had 0 of that. It was literally just pixel pushing. But that's hindsight. At that point, I was like, I need to be at the table. I need to be talking to the big dogs and telling them this is how we do it. Wasn't the case. But what I did do is had that relationship with my team lead and said, can we chat about how I can influence a little bit through you, or some things that you could say. And it slowly kind of worked, but didn't really hit the mark. So let me get to the next one. I realized I needed to step in some way. I didn't ask for a leadership role. I didn't say, make me a lead so I can do this. I just started taking certain things off my lead's plate. So I asked him, where can I help you so that I can learn and grow? He gave me random admin tasks. Really, the things he didn't want to do, he made me do. And I was learning this bigger picture things of how the project's put together, how are we billing for things, what does the team structure look like? So I was learning all of those things from the team lead. I started running more demos, started running more planning sessions, and this was in a cross-functional team, not just in the UX space. Now it's a developer, there's BAs, QAs, a whole core team that we're looking at. And I was like, how do I even lead people? I don't know anything that they do. I don't know how a development, didn't know how the developers work from a day-to-day point of view. But I had to earn the seat. So eventually, Entelect luckily saw that I was doing the right thing, and they made me a project lead in the space, which helped me become more legitimate at the client. So they saw, okay, no, Pierre's doing the thing, and carry on, and we'd be happy for him to do it. But that's when the shift really happened for me, my mindset shift. Now I was your peer, not my name. I was just your peer, and now I'm your lead. So how do you take that friendship side out of it? Some people say it's easier because that wasn't your friend. For me, it was very difficult. It was someone that you used to be able to go have a beer with, and now you're like, it's a bit weird. So, and I tried not to make it weird. And that talks to the mindset shift that you have to take. You're going from doing to enabling the team, and you're going from pushing pixels to making sure that everyone has a consensus as to where we're going and why we're doing it. What surprised me though on this journey is that people are very supportive. If you ask for help, people will help you. I think we have an ego set where we just like, it looks bad if I ask for help, but you'll be surprised that we can help you on the way. Where I am now, currently, Esty kind of alluded to it. I'm a team lead at Entelect, but I'm a design lead at Discovery. I'm in the health space there. I run a team of 15 designers, and I had to do a mindset shift again from being a cross-functional team lead to a design team lead. So to really brush up on my Figma skills. I felt like I did. So yeah, that's where I am now. I deal with a lot of context switching, a lot of stakeholder management. Something I would probably tell myself 5-6 years ago is watch how others lead, learn from others, and make your own opportunities. I think we're waiting for an opportunity. But if I didn't ask my team lead, hey, can I take anything off your plate? I don't think that opportunity would have come. So that's the journey. The next thing I want to share with you guys is a little day in my life. I try to be an influencer that day. It's a video to show you this is what it looks like from my point of view at Discovery currently. And maybe you can see something from there. Also caveat, this is not how every day looks. This is just the day I chose to show you guys the best, but I didn't manufacture any meeting. These are all legitimate. Right, you all have something to drink, enjoy the movie. You press play. Does it press play? Spacebar. Song.
I want to
She's fine. Yeah, cool. That's what I wanted to show you guys. Hope you enjoyed this. Right. The mindset shift. If I go into them in the room, online, what are the mindset shifts that you think need to happen from becoming from designer to lead? What are the key ones, I think?
So I've also very recently just moved into the leadership space.
Nice.
For me, it was a difference between the things you produce aren't like measurable object. You as a person don't make things really. It's more enabling others to then create this.
Exactly. Anyone else?
I think in terms of mindset, you should always have like an open mindset instead of a fixed mindset,
Yeah.
because we always think that, okay, this is where you belong, this is what you can do. You don't actually really develop your other qualities that you're not aware of at the moment, because like it's all about growth at the end of the day.
Anyone else? No one online, eh?
And it's also, I guess, on the there's a comment there.
Yes. Didn't read it, but it's still.
It's also, I think it is on the part of it. It's not necessarily your like the actions that you're taking, the work that you're producing. But a lot of people often have a thing of like meetings are bad and stuff like that. But a lot of times those meetings where you can actually help someone, you can have those conversations, is a really productive time. So actually your time spent talking will increase, but that is still productive and very valuable time as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, for me, it was mostly learning to trust everyone else around you, because for me, when I was still the one producing a lot of the work, I would take on everything. I'll do this correctly. Let me just do it. And then having to let go almost. You're still involved with things, but you have to just have faith that the people that are in the position to produce the work will produce the work. And you're stepping into a new role. You have to do that work for them to support them.
Online?
The online comment was being able to increase your influence and work you push out by putting the pin down. Okay, so you put the pin down, and that means you then increase the influence and the work that you push out.
That's another one.
No, that's.
Excellent.
Oh, wait. Maybe it's slow. Becomes more of the collective team's work rather than your work.
Look, I mean, I'm really glad that you guys are mentioning these things, because that's basically what I'm going to be covering right now. So thank you. But it is exactly that. I'm in the wrong spot again. That's why. So it goes from delivering screens, delivering the design output that your stakeholders have been asking you to do, to delivering or driving those outcomes. And that's exactly what you guys are mentioning now. So like removing blockers, clarifying goals, making sure the team's aligned. You're driving those specific outcomes for the team to make sure that they're doing their work. Next one is promoting UX value. So you go from promoting your UX from the stakeholders, and then you influence decision makers. I think that's the big one here for me was that switch is like, I can do the work, no problem, but how can I influence a decision maker to make sure that we go this route? And that's become my job as a lead in the space. I wish I could do this simultaneously. Being right. Kind of dug at one of my team members because he's like, I'm always right, but it's not about being right. It's about like you advocating for that right design, the right thing to do, the right process to follow, to navigating or building consensus, and you navigate trade-offs with your client, with your team. You facilitate alignment with devs and QAs and with the BA team, making sure that all the business requirements are being followed. A big one for me is it's not moving. You're going from personal growth, that's me, how do I get there, how do I do it, to team growth, making sure that the team's growing, making sure that they are getting the right coaching and the right things in mind. I almost ejected something. That was. You guys agree with those?
Yeah.
Some of them are quite interlinked, but it is basically that mindset shift that you have to take from I do this to we do this. Right, the key skills. These are the ones that I thought of when one was presenting this or putting this presentation together. It's like, what are the key skills that I had to develop and work on in my space? So let's see if you guys agree with it. Communication and storytelling. I think this is a little bit easier for UX designers. Essentially, like we are in stakeholder meetings, we need to present our work and kind of build a story around it. I think an example I can give you guys on the communication, the storytelling is like I use a lot of my, we all have stories to share. Like there's daily things that happen to us. How do you bring that back to a product that you're trying to make sure that we do? So I'll give you an example. Sitting in a room full of stakeholders and they're like, we need to work on making an adherence act for medical taking of pills. And I was like, oh, well, I mean, I take pills daily, so let me tell them how I do it, and kind of going into that that process of telling them what my story looks like, so that they can, oh, that's okay, that's how you do it. Now, obviously, it would be just my side story, but they could take something from that and hopefully move forward and resonate that point. Emotional intelligence. I work with a lot of clever people that have high IQs, but not always the emotional intelligence. And what I mean by that is like something that I had to work on. I think, again, UX people, and this is why I think UX people are really good at leadership, but is that you already have that empathy built in, hopefully, if you're a good UX designer. But you need to be able to read the room, respond with empathy. Everyone is going through something in their own way. We're all living our own lives. So kind of, oh, you're taking a sick day. Oh, okay, well, that's how you respond to that. Like, are you okay? What's happening? Handling team dynamics. And I think just out of my example would be, I've had many team members that I've worked with over the last few years. And a core skill that I've tried to develop is understanding what they need without them asking for it. They ask for it in a different way. So like, oh, no, Pierre, I'm feeling a little bit tired, a bit busy. I'm feeling overwhelmed. It's like, how would I deal with that? They're not asking me for a day off, but there's something there. And you've got to kind of read that. And that's that emotional intelligence. Coaching and mentorship. You've got to guide your team through challenges. I was fortunate enough, again, Entelect put me on the second version of legitimate leadership, which was coaching the coaches, or what's it called? Coaching coaches. This was a few years ago, guys, sorry, I didn't remember all the names. But the concept of coaching was that you watch the game. So if someone is interested in presenting, and they want to really upskill on the presenting one, it's like, cool, I'll watch how you present to an audience or a demo, whatever. And then after the fact, I will then give you feedback right after. But I won't say anything in the presentation. But it's like the analogy is you're a soccer coach, football coach for some people, and you can shout from the side, but you can't physically play the game for them. And that's the analogy. So that's a skill that I think is a core skill to do. Influence and stakeholder management. Again, I'm still working on this myself. I've got to build trust within that space. Heard a few of those was being mentioned. So you've got to build a strong relationship with your product team. How's it? Sorry. You have to build some relationship with your product team and tech team, your business analysts. It doesn't matter who, but build that relationship, because you never know how they can unlock things for you. So don't be scared about building a relationship. My good example here was last year I was thrown into discovery, and I had to build relationships anew. I mean, I had 5 years of relationships at Standard Bank. I did not have that at Discovery. And my key thing here was like, oh, we all don't really go into the office, but I see my stakeholders are going into the office, so I'm going to go sit with them on certain days. And because I did that, it showed that I actually gave a beep. This might be going YouTube. So I gave, I was interested in the problem, and I was showing them the that I was interested in making sure that we, work together, and that built the trust, and it allowed us to grow the team, grew the space, and yeah, that was basically how I did that. And that was a fortunate win. Operational and process thinking. I think as a UX designer, I wasn't thinking about the bigger picture, where things were fitting in too much. Obviously, I was thinking of the system and okay, what are the back end capabilities and how is front end working. I was thinking about that, but I was not thinking about what are the API calls that are getting through from another department that we have no relationship with, and how are they interacting. So I was thinking, how do I go into the bigger picture? How do I support collaboration within that space? And that was a key skill that I had to kind of start bringing in my daily work. And then the last one, and I think this is a very important one as a lead, is self-awareness and reflection. I think often we get bogged down in just the work, and you're not actually looking back, like, am I doing the right thing here for this team? Are we building the right thing? When we do reflect is when things go well, when they go bad, that's when you're reflecting. But I think you should just do it on a random Tuesday and go sit down and be like, okay, what am I doing here? And think about what's been happening and where you can improve. It's a growing mindset that you need to have. How are we doing for time? We're still good?
Yeah.
Right. Common challenges that you might face in the space. These are challenges that I've faced. These are common challenges I've seen other people face. Hopefully you'll see the analogy of the rope pulling. Also, that is me. I know I don't have the full beard, but that's the wrong one. And you spoke about it earlier, letting go of the craft. And I think you also spoke about it. Letting go of the craft is probably one of the key challenges that or common challenges that we all face. It's like, I'm not doing the real work yet. Like, how am I going to be showing my value? And it's scary. It's, it doesn't feel measurable. Like, how do I measure this? And what's the ROI? All the things that our stakeholders want to find out. When Sketch was still around, RIP, this was a lot trickier for me because I could just jump in, be like, no, we're going to do it this way, and redesign. It's a lot easier for me because Figma came up and just smashed everyone. I was like, I have no idea how to use Figma when I was in the lead space already. So it kind of allowed me to be a little bit more hands-off. I'm getting better with Figma. And I think the last thing here is like, you have to take your ego out of it now. Like, you have to just be like, look, this is not just about me. And, you have to delegate a little bit so that the team can grow. Trust. Balancing stakeholder needs is a common challenge I think we all face when you move into a leadership position, because you have your design team that has a way that they want to do it. Then you have your product team that's doing it a different way with the developers. And then you have business who's like, we need to do this, this, and this, and have 5,000 pages of something. Like, that's not a good user experience. So it's just balancing all those stakeholder needs. Basically just back and forth communication. Going back to point one of your key skills, communication. Navigating organizational politics. I think we all face those. Depends if you're working for a business of one person, then you have your own politics to sort out. But if you're working in a multi-billion company, there's a lot of people in the space, and there's a lot of people who have their own agendas and they push because they want to be better. And it's how do you navigate that? So you need to be able to read that room. And again, that speaks to the emotional intelligence that you might build up. You've got to build your alliances around you, know when to push for something and know when to hold back. Being accountable without control. This was probably my scariest one. You're responsible for all the outcomes in your team, but you have no control of that work. That means trusting and making sure that your team is focused on the direction. If I had to had an answer for this, it would feel like you are a passenger princess sitting next to your partner, and there's a traffic just stopping with their red lights, and you like brake, but you don't have the control. So that's what it feels like. You didn't know. That's how I see it. Imposter syndrome. And I've recently I went through this a year ago when I became the design lead at Discovery for Health, because I was now, I was managing a team, and I already had to go through the imposter syndrome from, I'm a designer and I have to lead a team, and I have to learn a lot of different things in the space. But then I was like, I won't go through this feeling again. I did last year when I moved into the design role, because we were using Figma. I'm going to be good at Figma, but I realized I didn't have to be good at it because we've got a whole team that are really good with it. But what I did do was upskill so that I could understand how they do things. So how does auto layout work? Okay, Figma released all these nice fancy things for us. I'm literally sitting there going, how does this improve our workflow from? And I'm literally playing with Figma slides, not Figma slides, this is Figma slides, Figma sites, Figma make, all those lovely things that are coming. So being involved in that eases the imposter syndrome. Sometimes I still feel, okay, still there. And then the tricky one from a common challenge is context switching. The more senior you get, the more you move up with that career ladder, step by step, you have to context switch all the time. Example, my day could go from having a team meeting, having a discussion with the client about a need that we need for next month, to answering the phone because my child's sick. There's always context switching that's happening. My advice here is get good at it. I don't know how. If anyone knows how to get good at it, tell me. I think the more you do it, more comfortable you become with it. I don't think it gets easier, it's just more comfortable. Any questions so far? No, I'm just going to take a little, I feel like I've been talking in a sip of water. No questions. Do you guys agree with the common challenges we could face?
I guess I was thinking like the thing about letting go of your craft, that you did kind of touch on it then with the imposter syndrome, understanding of it. So I think it is a very common saying if you get like promoted past your point of competency, and then that's how you end up with like really terrible managers. They used to be really good at what they do, and then they're promoted to that, but they're actually bad managers. And so therefore sometimes the best managers aren't actually the best at like UX, they actually have to do with people. But I also know there's some people where it's like, hey, this guy's a good manager, let's just have him be in charge of design, but he knows nothing. So I do think there is a balance. So, and it's obviously also about enabling your team, like trusting in them that they have those skills. But I don't know if you haven't like any advice on like how much do you think you need to understand? Because likewise with the bigger thing is, sometimes I feel like the best way to make sure you're using it efficiently is to properly understand it. Sometimes to properly understand it, you need to use it a lot. Or is it actually saying, hey, someone else, go find out what it is, come to me with your suggestions, and then let's all figure it out together how well. So I guess what your which suggestion be on like how much you actually know about what you're managing?
I hate this answer, but it depends on a lot of things. But I think how I would go about it is, and how I am going about it is, I find out enough to know that I can help you with the decision. and that might not make sense to everyone, but it's, you know, if there's a Figma issue, I'm not scared about getting deep into the problem, but I need to also have that awareness to say, is this something my time needs right now, or can you go figure it out and then we can talk about this together later?
Yeah.
And it's that balance between, and that's why I say it depends. Like if this is a major issue, I'm getting involved with you. We are jumping on it. If it's not, find out, grow, show.
So basically know enough to know how much of a priority it is. Also, I feel like as a designer, it depends.
Oh,
It always depends.
everywhere. Yeah.
How do you encourage independence? I'm having a lot of trouble personally, where I find we've hired a bunch of interns recently, and they're all coming to me. I'm also an intern, but I'm finding myself leading other interns because they think I've been there so much longer. I've only been there 3 months. But because I'm capable, they see me as the person they come to for everything. It's where do I download this? I've sent them the same file 3 times already, and they're still coming to me. How do I encourage them? Before coming to me, do things for yourself first. If you need help, I'll help you after. But they just keep coming back.
Have you communicated that? I think the big thing is that just communicate like, hey guys, I'm happy to help, but I've shown you everything. Please try and figure it out, but I'm happy to help. That would be one thing. So communicating with them. And so you're struggling with the fact that they're not being proactive about something.
Yeah, it's never proactive. Everything is, I feel like I'm hand-holding through everything, and I'm working on big projects. And now all the work's being assigned to me because they can't handle it themselves. And then I have to also hand-hold them. And then I also have to give them lessons on how to do their work that they're not actually doing. It's a lot.
It's an interesting problem. It might be a generational thing. I don't know.
It might be. I think it definitely is because I don't know. I don't know.
I'm telling you, probably if rumor said that about me. So so no. Yeah.
I just want to, one of my teammates said her dad told her you need to try 3 than me. So it's first ask yourself, then ask Google, then ask a friend. And only if you've done all of those things, then you're allowed to come and ask.
That's good.
me.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
give them that.
So that's what her dad told her, and I feel like that's a nice thing. So you can be like, cool, have before you answer, have you done this? If they haven't, then be like, I'm not helping you.
Something that I've implemented within my team is like if you come to me with a problem, I would like 2 solutions that you've thought about, and which one do you want to go with? That I know that problems are different to you, what you're facing. I think from my perception of what I'm hearing is that they just want the easy way out.
Very
You
much.
stop that you're the easy way out.
Very much so.
Enable them.
Okay, cool. I have a question. Like, so how do you handle being compared to the previous guy? See, right now, like you're the lead design, and then you're happy, like the team is not really happy on how you do things. They just prefer the old methods of the previous guy. Obviously, we have different working styles, differently as well. So how do you basically, make sure that everyone is happy?
Not everyone's going to be happy.
Mhm.
But I do want the consensus around the room that we are moving forward together. And again, it's about building personal relationships with each member of your team, knowing exactly what drives them. What drives Esty and drives me is very different. So you have to understand what is that core thing to get them to buy into what you are trying to foster for them to run a project. There are always different leadership styles. There's some that resonate with you, and there's some that don't. Like we have some people are very hands off. You do your thing, but you don't work that way. You need a bit of structure. You need a bit of guidance. You need some hand holding a little bit, or you need someone who is completely hands off, and you're like, no, it's fine. I can do this. Stop. Don't. You're micromanaging me if you talk to me. Type of thing. And you need to kind of understand how everyone works. I was fortunate in the space. The lead was, not great, and they kind of replaced me. So I was like, on YouTube. into some practical strategies. I mean, I'd love to continue the conversation after the fact. We're almost done. A few more things. So practical strategies that I'd say you could start implementing in your day-to-day would be own a problem and not just a task. So go and volunteer to lead a UX initiative. Put up your hand to rally the team for something, anything that you do it as a team, go rally them together. Try and help guide decisions, and then just remember you're not there just to deliver a screen. And I'm talking just from a UX point of view, but in your task that you have in front of you, you're not just there to deliver that. Go and open your mind to that, and you will see. And that's my example of. I went to my team lead and I said, how can I help you? And I started owning problems and trying to fix them. Build relationships with stakeholders. Go and have a sit down. Go and identify who your key stakeholders are. Go sit next to them. Build a relationship. It sounds daunting because I know it is, but it's actually not that bad. We are all human beings. Yes, they might be a little bit more senior than you in the space, but if you find out what coffee they like, or maybe not like, that was my problem. The person liked mocha, and I was like, oh, okay, sorry, I'll take it back. You won. But build those relationships, go understand what are their pain points, what is keeping them up at night, and see if you could, make it easier. And then mentor others. Now, this could be literally your peers. You can help with specific things. It looks like you're doing a little bit of that already. Offer feedback to juniors, run design reviews. Again, I'm talking from a UX point of view, but start small, just start. And I think something that you might be getting right already is just, you start being that person that people can ask for support and maybe get some clarity from you. But it's a fine balance to being the scapegoat. And the last one is to improve processes. I think a lot of people are really good at spotting inefficiencies in processes, but not a lot of people are actually good at actioning what we should do to fix those. So be that person. Go and find the process problem and see how can I fix it. And that would be my practical strategy. Some key next steps that you can take. What can you do next? My biggest thing here would be get curious. Get curious about the bigger picture. Start asking how things connect to each other. What are the business outcomes that need to come out from this? And have those conversations. But get curious about it. Ask what's happening here. Why is this happening here? I think a lot of us get we get nervous to ask questions and kind of understand. I think about it like as my kid. He's just curious about everything and touches everything. It's everything in his mouth. Think like that. Put it in your mouth. Get curious. The next one is step up. I think step up in small ways is a start, and I mentioned that earlier. Own that problem, mentor someone, improve a team process. But if you're not going to step up to it, take that opportunity, make that opportunity, you're not going to get in. We're going to get there very slowly. Next one is build trust. This is a big one. And it's not just trust with your key stakeholders in your team. It's literally everyone involved in the process. Don't be scared to build relationships. I think often we like, this is my team, this is who we are, go away. We're good here, we're good here. Like, be inviting. And I know it's difficult for some people. Like, I am a bit of an extrovert, so it's easy for me to go and sit down next to someone and have a conversation. But I've seen introverts do that as well. I've seen introverts go and find a connection somehow. My best advice is get a buddy that is. So if you're an introvert, get a buddy that's an extrovert. You'll see what's happening there. You'll start building relationships with other people easier. The next one is show up. I think show up as a lead. You don't have to have the title, but you can, you can lead through clarity, care, any initiative that you run. You could definitely lead in that space. You don't need permission to lead. I think that's what I want you guys to take away from it. You don't need permission. I think for a long time I was asking for that permission, but I want to tell you that you don't have to ask for it. Go run a design critique, help a teammate, challenge those unclear briefs. Often we just get briefs and like, is this thing? This doesn't even make sense. This is a dev problem thing. Connect the dots between UX and strategy, and offer to represent the design planning session. Before we get to the next slide, I got to ask you guys, before you take any of these steps, you've got to ask yourself one thing. And that one thing is, what is your why? Why are you gravitating towards something? Are you wanting to gravitate to it? Ask yourself that. Go do it on a Tuesday. Is it about your growth? Is it about your influence? This is what mine was starting out to be. I think it also changes. Your why can change. It doesn't always have to be that why. Now it's about, I really enjoy having a team that I can grow. And when you see the growth in the person, now that is so rewarding to me. I can see someone who's been so nervous to present in front of other people, and sit there in a stakeholder team, a meeting with like 50 stakeholders, and they can present and be confident about it. That's when I feel proud. So that's my challenge. Go write those down. Thank you. I didn't get those questions. Let's continue the conversation. You can connect with me. If you don't want to ask it here, ask it in my LinkedIn. Thank you, guys.